Hi and welcome to my channel, and in today's video I'm showing you how to make this Nigerian fish rolls that are baked to perfection. Yes, you heard me right, baked. You see, ever since I started baking my fish rolls, I've not gone back to frying, and I'm sure you won't go back to. But if at this point you're like, no, now you can't bake fish rolls, blah blah blah, relax. This recipe will also work for the fried version, so you keep watching and let's get straight into cooking. To make fish rolls, you need fish, obviously. And for this recipe, I'm using mackerel. You can use any kind of fish you'll find around you, but in my experience, mackerel is the best for Nigerian fish rolls. So if you have mackerel, use it. So I've seasoned my mackerel with some seasoning powder. I've also added some thyme and garlic powder. You can use any combination of spices that you fancy, but I'm keeping it simple with this. I'm also going to add some water and give the fish a light stir. Then I'll cook the fish until it's done. And for mackerel, that should take you between 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not sure, but between 10 to 15 minutes, you should be fine. Now, cook the fish until it's completely done and then remove it from the water immediately. After the fish has cooled a little bit, remove the bones because trust me, nobody wants to eat bony fish rolls. Just remove the bones and then flake the fish with a fork. Just mash it, break it into really small parts and set the fish aside. Now heat up some oil in a pan. Make sure you don't add too much oil, else your fish roll filling is going to turn out very oily and I'm sure you won't like that. Then add some chopped onions and some chopped habanero peppers, as little or as much as you want. Then add some salt and your favorite spices. I'm still sticking with dried thyme and ginger powder. Just use anything that you fancy. You can add more seasoning cubes at this point, but I'm not going to do that because I cooked the fish with some seasoning powder and I don't feel like it needs seasoning at this point. But if you feel like yours needs more seasoning, please add it. Then I'll go ahead and add the fish that I flaked earlier. All the fish, everything, just add everything. Then start mixing it all together. The pepper, the onion, the spices, the fish, mix everything together and make sure all the flavors combine. So you want to stir fry this for 4 to 5 minutes. And you also want to make sure that the mixture is dry. You don't have any leftover liquid from the fish or anything. Make sure it's completely dry, and that's it for the fish filling. Really, at this point you're going to feel like eating it already, but no, we are not going to do that. Then I'll put that filling in a bowl and set it aside to cool. And while I'm waiting for it to cool, I'll start making the dough for the fish roll. The first thing I'll do is put some warm water in a large bowl, warm and not hot. If you use hot water, you'll kill the yeast, so please don't do that. And to the water, I'll add some active dry yeast and a bit of sugar. Give that a mix. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to see if the yeast is active so this doesn't end in hot tears. So I'll cover the bowl with a towel, and if after 5 to 10 minutes it becomes frothy or foamy, just like what you can see now, then I'm good to go. If it doesn't turn out like this for you, discard the mixture immediately and start all over. You might have used hot water or your yeast might not be active, so you need to get new yeast. Sorry. I've added some all-purpose flour to the yeast mixture, and I'm also going to add some sugar and salt. Then I'll start bringing that together. I go in first with my spatula because I don't like to get a lot of wet mess on my hands. But as soon as it starts coming together, I ditch the spatula and get my hand into that bowl. So I start mixing until a dough starts coming together, until a shaggy dough is formed. And as soon as that is formed, I'm going to add some butter, about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to drop the measurements for this recipe in the description box, so you will check that out. And yeah, you can also use margarine. I'm sure margarine will work perfectly, but if you have butter, use it. Butter is better. You see what I did there? Back to business. So I'll start incorporating the butter into the dough. Just mix until it's all incorporated. and I'll start kneading the dough in the bowl. You can knead it on a surface, no problem, but it's not a big dough, so it should come together in a bowl. It's going to be a bit sticky at first, but the more you knead, the less sticky it gets, and it should take you 6 to 8 minutes, yeah, by hand, 6 to 8 minutes before the dough becomes smooth and elastic like this. Then I'll place the dough on a surface that I've lightly dusted with flour, and I'll also dust the top of the dough with a bit of flour to make it easier to cut. So I first cut the dough into 2, and I cut each half into 8 each. So 8 plus 8 is equal to 16, and that's because I planned to make 16 medium-sized fish rolls, even though my tray could only take 12. So if you're making smaller fish rolls, you cut it into more than 16. If you're making larger ones, less than 16. You understand? So I'll start rolling out each part on the same surface, and if it gets a bit sticky for you, just dust it with a bit of flour and it will come around. I personally roll my own out really flat, and that's because I love layers and layers and layers of thin pastry around my fish roll filling. So yours doesn't have to be as flat as this, but make sure it's not too thick either. Then I'll go ahead and place some of the fish roll filling on one end of the dough that I rolled out, and I also make sure it's not spilling out and it's arranged nicely. Then I will start rolling this up, and this part is like the easiest part. Just roll it up, tuck it in, roll it up, tuck it in, roll it up and tuck it in. Then I'll repeat the same process for all the dough that I cut out. Then I'll arrange them on a baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper, and the paper is to prevent the fish rolls from sticking to the pan. I'll also brush the top of the fish rolls with 1 beaten egg to give it a nice golden color. So I'll bake this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, and that's it. Warm, soft, delicious, addictive fish rolls that will make your friends and family beg for more. It's just like bread with a fish roll filling. Really, that's exactly what it is. And that's it for today, guys. If you love this video, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments. Share this video with your friends. Tell your friends about my channel. And if you haven't done that, please subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.